Broadcasting live from WOUB TV in Athens, this is Newswatch.
Clowns strike again. A Hocking County witness reported a clown standing over a dead dog. And Ohio University also celebrated Cutler Hall's 200th anniversary today. Good evening, I'm Allison Gens, and thanks for joining us. A Hocking County witness said he saw a clown standing over the body of a dead dog. The dog's owner said the animal was clubbed to death and found near her front yard. The dog was killed near the intersection of State Route 333 and Buckingham Road early last Friday. The witness said he tried to stop when he saw the clown, but the clown ran after him and he drove away.
With a phone call about 4:30 and said there was a clown clubbed the dog to death. And he's standing in the yard.
It is still unclear as to who was in the clown costume. Ohio University is celebrating the 200th anniversary of Cutler Hall today. The anniversary was commemorated with a bicentennial celebration in front of the historic building. Ground broke for Cutler Hall 200 years ago in 1812 and was named after OU founder Manasseh Cutler. President Roderick McDavis opened the celebration, which included many important speakers and, of course, some cake. One of the guests of honor in attendance is an actual descendant of Manasseh Rupert Cutler.
Pleased to be a descendant of Manasseh Cutler and pleased to have been invited to speak about him at this ceremony on the occasion of the 200th anniversary of Cutler Hall here at Ohio University.
So Manasseh Cutler and Cutler Hall were instrumental and are great symbols of the sustainability of this university and the beginnings of it.
The ceremony concluded with a groundbreaking for a time capsule containing objects symbolic to the different OU colleges. Columbus police opened fire on a suspect bank robbery early this morning. The shooting happened outside of a key bank in Hilliard following a short chase. 2 officers wounded the suspect, who was then taken to Grant Hospital in critical condition. All officers are okay and no employees were injured. Police are investigating the situation and have not disclosed the suspect's identity. Also in Columbus, a Hilliard City Schools bus driver was attacked, stabbed, and sexually assaulted on her bus this morning. According to police, the attack happened after just 7:30 this morning in the 5300 block of Nike Drive. The suspect boarded the bus overnight, and it appears he was laying there waiting. Police say this was not the victim's regular bus, and there is no reason to believe she was specifically targeted. The Athens' second annual Susan G. Komen Race for the Cure is slated for Sunday. The event has already raised over $39,000 and will support programs specific to the 18 counties in Southeast Ohio. The co-chairs for the race are cancer survivors Mary Dupler and Sydney Oramus. The race will take place at Ohio University campus at 10 a.m.
From the Newswatch Weather Center, I'm Matt Thigpen. Right now in Athens, after all that rain, cooling down to 49 degrees. Hot this week. We got up to 86 degrees earlier this week here in Athens. But across our region, I mean, we're seeing those temperatures in the upper 40s to low 50s across most of our region. Hour by hour for tonight, midnight looks like 46 degrees, 3 a.m. 43 degrees, 6 a.m. 42 degrees. We'll see cloudy skies throughout the evening and into the night. And as we look for our Friday football forecast, it looks like 48 degrees for our kickoff and throughout the game. You won't need an umbrella or anything, as most of our games will be in our out of the rain, mostly cloudy skies, breezy conditions. We're seeing that cold front has moved through, and bringing those windy conditions. Might have to keep an eye out for that. Might need a light jacket tonight, heavy jacket for the kids. Allison, how's that sound?
Thanks, Matt. And a man died after falling into a silo on a farm in Worcester Township yesterday morning. The Wayne County Sheriff's Department says 32-year-old Rhett Acker was climbing up a ladder when he fell backwards about 6 feet down into a silo chute and couldn't free himself. About 40 firefighters tried to free Acker, but during the rescue, Acker fell 25 more feet. Crews were able to remove him from the silo, but were unable to revive him. Ohio's unemployment rate has gone up slightly from August. The State Department of Job and Family Services reports Ohio's rate of 4.8% in September was up from 4.7% in August. It is also up 0.2% from last year. The country's unemployment rate also went up. It rose from 4.9% in August to 5% in September. However, that is down 0.1% from 2015. Job gains were reported in financial, professional, and business services, while leisure, construction, and manufacturing jobs reported losses. A new advisory group on drones is creating a new policy model for law enforcement agencies in Ohio. The group includes individuals from the fields of aviation, education, and law enforcement. Attorney General Mike DeWine announced the group's formation on Thursday, and he said the group will focus on privacy concerns that arise from the use of drones. Columbus Honor Flight is gearing up to fly over 50 senior war veterans from Ohio out to Washington, D.C. tomorrow. Honor Flight is a nonprofit organization that honors World War II, Korean War, and Vietnam War veterans by raising money to fly them out to see the nation's capital, free of charge. There are about 30 volunteers who go on the flight to help the veterans get around and make sure they stay safe. WOUB caught up with one of the senior veterans on their last trip earlier this month, and he shared his experiences on the trip.
I'm kind of glad though that they did realize what I have been through, and we get to talk about it, you know. And I enjoyed all that I talked to, you know. They know that I'm still here at my age.
This is the last trip Honor Flight will make until next spring. And from everyone at WOUB, we'd like to give a big thank you to you for your service to our veterans. Kentucky Secretary of State Allison Lundergan Grimes announced the new voter registration totals yesterday. Since last year, Republicans have added around 77,000 voters, while Democrats gained about 11,000. Democrats still have a majority, claiming 51% of all registered voters, compared with Republicans' 40%. The rest are registered as third-party or independent voters. The deadline to register to vote in Kentucky was last week. The American Civil Liberties Union is suing a West Virginia county clerk over unprocessed online voter registrations. The lawsuit states that when the clerk receives an online registration, it sends back a paper application. The plaintiff is a Marshall University student and is one of an unknown number of people who were unable to register online. An attack on Twitter put East Coast residents in an uproar, and Trump and Hillary Clinton continued to trade insults at the Al Smith Memorial Dinner. These stories and more when Newswatch returns.
University students really have a huge sense of pride in our campus, in our school, and in our education.
People don't come to Ohio just to go to college. They come here to become a Bobcat.
It's a really unique atmosphere.
Bobcat pride is having that natural camaraderie.
Bobcats are just happy to be Bobcats.
My favorite time of year at Ohio has to be homecoming.
When the alumni come back, you can see that the love of this university doesn't fade.
Once you're a Bobcat, you're always a Bobcat.
Friday nights are all about high school football, but when the games are over and the helmets come off, it's time for some gridiron glory. I'm your host, Danny Dean, back under center. Don't miss a play this season. Join myself and the rest of our team on Friday nights at 11:30 on WOUB, and catch us again on Saturday mornings at 11:30. We are committed to bringing you the stories of players, coaches, and communities, and of course, we can't forget about some highlights. We all know there's nothing better than Friday nights and gridiron glory.
I knew that I wanted to come to Ohio University from the very first time I visited here.
There's something about the campus that grabs you.
It was really comforting.
Very welcoming.
It's one thing to write down your name and your GPA and that kind of stuff and send it in. It's another thing entirely to be here and see how great it is.
The campus here is just electric.
Absolutely gorgeous.
Everything just looked really college-like.
I looked at my mom and I said, "This is it." And she said, "The tour's just started." I said, "No, you don't understand. This is it."
My professors really care. They care about my grades, they care about my opportunities, they care about my experiences, they want me to succeed.
They give those opportunities to the students.
My professors have been extremely approachable.
Literally, their door is always open.
You can go to them with pretty much anything. Everyone knows your first and your last name and where you sit in the classroom.
I really never feel like I'm being talked down to or just being taught material. I always feel like I'm having a conversation.
And they want to share those opportunities and those experiences with us.
You may have already known this, but Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton apparently don't like each other much. A Catholic fundraiser where the presidential candidates traditionally trade lighthearted jabs turned into a verbal brawl last night. Andy Rose reports.
The annual Al Smith Memorial Dinner is typically a chance for the presidential candidates to show their fun side in the campaign's home stretch. But once again, little is typical about this year's campaign. Take a listen to Donald Trump.
Hillary accidentally bumped into me, and she very civilly said, "Pardon me."
That was one of the Republican nominee's more gentle remarks toward Democratic opponent Hillary Clinton at the charity dinner.
Here she is tonight, in public, pretending not to hate Catholics.
Clinton spoke after Trump. She took some shots of her own.
Donald looks at the Statue of Liberty and sees a 4. Maybe a 5 if she loses the torch and tablet and changes her hair.
This comes a day after the third and final presidential debate, where Trump raised eyebrows by refusing to commit to respect the outcome of the balloting. The billionaire followed up that remark Thursday by saying, sure, he'll recognize the final results if they end up with him on top. Back at the dinner, both candidates were able to do something they struggled to do during the debates, actually shake hands. I'm Andy Rose reporting.
This was the last time you'll likely see the candidates on the same stage before the election. Both are back on the campaign trail, Clinton in Ohio and Trump in North Carolina and Pennsylvania. A massive cyber attack left Twitter, Netflix, PayPal, Reddit, Spotify, and other popular websites at a standstill this morning. The outages are a result of a DDoS or denial of service attack on large scale. These kinds of attacks are attempts to overwhelm websites with so much traffic that it impairs normal service. While it was not immediately clear who was behind these attacks or why, affected companies took to Twitter to post updates to customers once the social network was back online. DYN confirmed the attacks and says all the sites should be back to normal now.
Department of Homeland Security, that is the U.S. government agency that is responsible for monitoring our security in cyberspace and coordinating with the public and private sector to protect U.S. interests in cyberspace, is monitoring this situation.
While all sites may be back to normal after the second wave, it is still unclear who was responsible for this act. A triple homicide is under investigation in southwest Florida near the Everglades. As Christina Lusby reports, a concerned resident alerted police.
I just knew there was something wrong, something bad wrong.
As night fell, investigators removed 3 bodies from a gray car along a remote part of US 41 in Collier County.
It was slumped over to the passenger side and there was, blood on her face. And I could tell that her eyes were open. And
Jim Bronson found them. He says a woman was dead in the driver's seat and 2 men dead in the back of the car. The sheriff's office confirms all 3 victims were shot.
It was something from her head.
Bronson first spotted the car sitting across from his property at 9:30 this morning. The car wasn't running. He says it was unusual.
I went by, I saw that there was a young lady and it looked like she was sleeping.
He went to check his mail shortly after 10, and when it was still there, he went over.
Went over there and knocked on the window, and I could tell then that I looked through the front window, through the front of the car, and seen blood, and I could tell that there was something bad wrong.
He called 911. Detectives arrived. The bodies shut down a lane along US 41. The helicopter circled, snapping pictures of the scene from above.
She's not moving, and I see blood.
Near the Miami-Dade County line off of the Tamiami Trail, the road that connects Miami to Tampa. The Collier County Sheriff's Office is handling the investigation. On Wall Street today, the Dow is down. Here's a look at stocks of local interest. Pollution, crowded streets, can these factors raise daily stress? That story's still ahead.
And we'll take a look at our dry weekend, see if it's going to be dry, see if those rain showers move out, take a look at our winter outlook. That's all in my extended forecast.
Professors really care. They care about my grades, they care about my opportunities, they care about my experiences, they want me to succeed.
They give those opportunities to the students.
My professors have been extremely approachable.
Literally, their door is always open.
You can go to them with pretty much anything. Everyone knows your first and your last name and where you sit in the classroom.
I really never feel like I'm being talked down to or just being taught material. I always feel like I'm having a conversation.
And they want to share those opportunities and those experiences with us.
Ohio University students really have a huge sense of pride in our campus, in our school, and in our education.
People don't come to Ohio just to go to college. They come here to become a Bobcat.
It's a really unique atmosphere.
Bobcat pride is having that natural camaraderie.
Bobcats are just happy to be Bobcats.
My favorite time of year at Ohio has to be homecoming.
When the alumni come back, you can see that the love of this university doesn't fade.
Once you're a Bobcat, you're always a Bobcat.
I knew that I wanted to come to Ohio University from the very first time I visited here.
There's something about the campus that grabs you.
It was really comforting.
Very welcoming.
It's one thing to write down your name and your GPA and that kind of stuff and send it in. It's another thing entirely to be here and see how great it is.
The campus here is just electric.
Absolutely gorgeous.
Everything just looked really college-like.
I looked at my mom and I said, "This is it." And she said, "The tour's just started." I said, "No, you don't understand. This is it."
Friday nights are all about high school football, but when the games are over and the helmets come off, it's time for some gridiron glory. I'm your host, Danny Dean, back under center. Don't miss a play this season. Join myself and the rest of our team on Friday nights at 11:30 on WOUB, and catch us again on Saturday mornings at 11:30. We are committed to bringing you the stories of players, coaches, and communities, and of course, we can't forget about some highlights. We all know there's nothing better than Friday nights and gridiron glory.
From the Newswatch Weather Center on the campus of Ohio University, I'm Matt Thigpen. Right now in Athens, 49 degrees. Seeing those clouds move in throughout our region. Winds out of the northwest at 7 miles per hour. 79 down in Ironton, 50 in Chillicothe, 59 in Columbus, and 50 in Cambridge. Across our region, we're seeing those lower 50s, upper 40s. Today we hit 64. That was a little after midnight today. We're still trying for that low 50 degrees. Record is 84. We're right about average for our for this time of year. Speaking of this time of the year, we're looking towards winter. Winter outlook, this is our temperature outlook. Warmer to our south, cooler to our north. We're seeing that La Nina pattern set up across the U.S. El Nino is warmer, La Nina is cooler. Equal chances of seeing average temperatures. That precip looks like this. We have a little bit of chance of being a little wetter, so it might be more snow this year. This does not mean that we will. It's just the outlook to see if we have more precipitation. Right now, speaking of precipitation, tomorrow it's going to head out of here. That low pressure that was in our region is up in Nova Scotia, past New England, out of this town. Get them out. High school football looks like this. 49 degrees, showers diminish, mostly cloudy skies for our evening. Windy, a little bit breezy, 59 degrees. On the collegiate side of things, 47 tomorrow at 2 p.m. if you're headed out to the game at Kent State. OU takes on Kent State tomorrow at 1 p.m. ESPN3 is broadcasting that. Tomorrow's highs look like this across our region. Mid to upper 50s across our region. Showers to our eastern, scattered showers across eastern counties. 57 down in Ironton. 55 for tomorrow for Athens. A little chilly, dry and chilly though. Partly cloudy. Put that umbrella away, you won't need it tomorrow. Athens race for a cure. Allison talked about that earlier. Start of the race, 46 degrees, partly cloudy skies. Seasonable morning, a little chilly, great running weather, I think. Temperatures overnight's not 40 degrees here in Athens, 43 down in Ironton, cloudy skies, but we will remain dry overnight. 40 degrees in Athens for tonight, breezy skies, wow. Breezy conditions, lingering showers across our eastern counties, cloudy skies, extended forecast, here it is. Here's your weekend. 55 on Saturday, warming up to 67, nice day on Sunday. Monday and Tuesday looks awesome for the start of our work week, and next chance for rain comes Wednesday and Thursday. Allison?
Thanks, Matt. And mental health professionals are putting a new emphasis on reducing the negative impacts of urban life. In today's Health Minute, Kim Hutcherson has 3 things you can start doing right now to reduce the stress of city living.
Bumper-to-bumper traffic, air pollution, crowded streets. The stresses of urban living can appear endless. In fact, studies show that city dwellers are more likely to suffer from anxiety and mood disorders. The first recommendation, go to the park. Living close to or spending time in green spaces can decrease the risk of depression. Next up, get out of your car. Walking or cycling to work is better for your physical and mental health. Finally, be aware of your environment. Mindfully observing the area around you can help restore a sense of control. Loud noises keeping you up at night? Find the source. Even though you may not be able to stop it, knowing the cause can reduce your stress because it increases that feeling of control. For today's Health Minute, I'm Kim Hutcherson.
So next time you're feeling a little stressed out in the big city, remember to be aware of your environment. Now I'll send it over to Stephen with sports.
How's it going, everyone? I'm Steven Hernandez, and we have a lot of sports stories to talk about. Ohio suffered a tough loss at home against the Eastern Michigan Eagles, but what does Ohio have to do to stay on top of their division? Find out after the break. Here's a look at what's coming up tonight on your public television station.
Friday nights are all about high school football, but when the games are over and the helmets come off, it's time for some gridiron glory. I'm your host, Danny Dean, back under center. Don't miss a play this season. Join myself and the rest of our team on Friday nights at 11:30 on WOUB, and catch us again on Saturday mornings at 11:30. We are committed to bringing you the stories of players, coaches, and communities, and of course, we can't forget about some highlights. We all know there's nothing better than Friday nights and gridiron glory.
Ohio University students really have a huge sense of pride in our campus, in our school, and in our education.
People don't come to Ohio just to go to college. They come here to become a Bobcat.
It's a really unique atmosphere.
Bobcat pride is having that natural camaraderie.
Bobcats are just happy to be Bobcats.
My favorite time of year at Ohio has to be homecoming.
When the alumni come back, you can see that the love of this university doesn't fade.
Once you're a Bobcat, you're always a Bobcat.
My professors really care. They care about my grades, they care about my opportunities, they care about my experiences, they want me to succeed.
They give those opportunities to the students.
My professors have been extremely approachable.
Literally, their door is always open.
You can go to them with pretty much anything.
Everyone knows your first and your last name and where you sit in the classroom.
I really never feel like I'm being talked down to or just being taught material. I always feel like I'm having a conversation.
And they want to share those opportunities and those experiences with us.
I knew that I wanted to come to Ohio University from the very first time I visited here.
There's something about the campus that grabs you.
It was really comforting.
Very welcoming.
It's one thing to write down your name and your GPA and that kind of stuff and send it in. It's another thing entirely to be here and see how great it is.
The campus here is just electric.
Absolutely gorgeous.
Everything just looked really college-like.
I looked at my mom and I said, "This is it." And she said, "The tour's just started." I said, "No, you don't understand. This is it."
Welcome back to Newswatch. I'm Steven Hernandez. Week 7 of the NFL season kicked off Thursday night as the Green Bay Packers fended off the Chicago Bears 26-10. Green Bay quarterback Aaron Rodgers carried the team's offense in the second half after trailing 10-6. Rodgers passed for 328 yards and 3 touchdowns, leading to a 20-point swing in the Packers' favor. Meanwhile, the Bears lost starting quarterback Brian Hoyer to a broken arm after he was sacked by Julius Peppers in the second quarter. Backup quarterback Matt Barkley finished the game under center with 81 passing yards and 2 interceptions. In college football, the Ohio Bobcats will face off against Kent State on the road at 1 p.m. on Saturday. The Bobcats will look to rebound after a loss to Eastern Michigan at home last week. A win tomorrow will keep the Bobcats in contention for the MAC East title and the MAC championship game. In the Big Ten, number 2 ranked Ohio State looks to rise to the top of the poll as they square off against the Penn State Nittany Lions at 8 p.m. in State College. Thanks to their undefeated record and tremendous offense, the Buckeyes are one of the biggest candidates to be at the top 4 of the college football playoff rankings, which will be announced starting in November 1st. Penn State, on the other hand, will try to make use of their home field advantage in pass defense. All of their wins have been at home, and the Nittany Lions pass defense is 12th in the nation. And for high school sports, tune in to WOUB tonight at 11:30 for this week's episode of Gridiron Glory. This week, Gridiron Glory team will be covering the Athens Bulldogs as they host the River Valley Raiders. Athens has a 6-2 record and is undefeated in conference play, but they're also tied with Nelsonville York for the top spot in the TVC Ohio. This week's matchup will be crucial to determine who has the advantage heading into the historic Athens versus NY game next week. And for Game of the Week, the team will catch up with Philo as the Electrics go on the road to take on the Morgan Raiders. Philo is undefeated in conference play and has a chance to claim at least a share of the MVL crown with a win tonight. Could this spell the end of Tri-Valley's outright dominance of the MVL over the last 5 years? Tune into the show to find out. In volleyball, the Bobcats have an action-packed weekend as they face off against 2 MAC West Division rivals. The Bobcats will first host Northern Illinois tonight, who is undefeated in conference play after 8 games. Ohio then welcomes Western Michigan on Saturday. The Bobcats enter this weekend with a familiar strong start in the MAC play. They have won at least 6 of their first 8 conference games for the 6th year in a row, and have won 7 of their last 9 games overall. Both games will start at 7 p.m. at the Convocation Center. Finally, in baseball, the Chicago Bears will host the Los Angeles Dodgers Saturday at 8 p.m. for Game 6 of the NLCS. Behind heavy hitting from players like Anthony Rizzo and Addison Russell, the Cubs will have retaken the series lead after being down 2-1. With the comeback, the Cubs are now 1 win away from entering their first World Series appearance since 1945. The Dodgers now have a tough task to win out the series as the final 2 games are Wrigley Field. But Kershaw will take the mound for the Dodgers and will look for his 2nd shutout of the series and the 3rd for the Dodgers. I'm Steven Hernandez, and that's it for sports. Back to you, Allison.
Thanks, Stephen. A New York farmer decided to pop the question to his girlfriend with the help of a combine, a soybean field, and a drone. Dan Stein and Leslie Hamilton, who are both farmers, were riding in the combine together when Dan deviated from his normal route. Dan showed her a picture from a drone flying above with the message he had carved into the field. He then got down on one knee and she said yes. And the two planned to marry in 2018. I'll send it over to Matt with a final look at your forecast.
Well, I'll marry this weekend. Beautiful weekend. 55 on Saturday, 41 Saturday night, 67. That's a beautiful Sunday. Marry me, marry me, marry me for this weekend. 46 for Race for a Cure for Sunday. Partly cloudy skies, seasonable for our morning conditions for the fall. Beautiful day to get out there and get a run in. 55 for our high on Saturday, 67. Warm up quickly from that race. 67 on Sunday. Beautiful conditions. Start of our work week, 62. 60 on Tuesday. Wednesday is our next chance for rain. Late Wednesday and into Thursday. See that chance increase from 30 to 40%. Ending our next week, going into Halloween, 63 degrees. Partly cloudy skies. Allison?
Thanks, Matt, and that does it for our broadcast this evening. Thanks for watching. I'm Allison Gens, and stay tuned for the PBS NewsHour coming up next. And remember, you can find the latest news anytime at WOUB.org. Have a great night.
Friday nights are all about high school football, but when the games are over and the helmets come off, it's time for some gridiron glory. I'm your host, Danny Dean, back under center. Don't miss a play this season. Join myself and the rest of our team on Friday nights at 11:30 on WOUB and catch us again on Saturday mornings at 11:30. We are committed to bringing you the stories of players, coaches, and communities, and of course, we can't forget about some highlights. We all know there's nothing better than Friday nights and gridiron glory.